Going into orbit now.
To jump to safe harbor immediately. Let me check my logs. Alright, you can proceed. We'll let them know you're on your way down.
Setting down. Everything in the green.
This planet. This is more my speed. Oh, I could hike here for a while.
Hi. Please disregard my attempt.
This is Londonian. I've heard the stories, but I've never seen it with my own eyes.
Captain Jim, hello. I am
Inside the barriers, double time! You with the Xeno unit? You're heading to command, far end of the compound. I'll send the rest of your team along once they arrive. Can't chit-chat right now.
So what's your next trick? I pride myself on knowing everyone on this world, and I don't know you. You're with the collection team then, I presume. Either that, or you're one deeply unlucky trespasser. Vanguard, eh? Brief said you were an eclectic group. You must have really shined out on the fringe to get assigned a task like this. Ah, then this must be the rest of your outfit.
Commander Hatum,
No need for introductions, Major Sinon. Dr. Walker, your reputations precede you, as does the urgency of your mission, so I'll get to it. Now, Londinian is one of the most dangerous places in the Milky Way. It's with good reason my soldiers and I do everything we can to avoid entering the city. Terrormorphs are omnipresent, and the structural damage left behind when Major Sinon's father bombed its spaceport has turned large swathes of the metropolis into a decaying labyrinth. As such, we'll be providing you all with gear, information, and uploading municipal unlock codes to your robot. Every tool you could need to succeed out there. Except one. Once you're on the other side of those barriers, you will be on your own. If you get into trouble, my people will not be coming. Do we understand each other? The initial Terrormorph outbreak that overran Londinian during the tail end of the colony war came as a complete shock. Waves of the creatures appeared out of nowhere, and the city was quickly overwhelmed. There were some attempts at evacuation, but Ve Victus decided more definitive action was merited. He ordered the spaceport to be bombed, ensuring no other ships could leave the city, halting the spread of the outbreak but leaving large sections in ruins and condemning countless lives. And the intervening 20 years have only made Londinian more hostile, not less. So my people will not be coming for you out there. Understood? We are unwanted guests on this planet, and, as a rule, I don't put my people in any more risk than is absolutely necessary. We've got it hard enough out here. So, no, there will be no cavalry sweeping into the rescue. Terrormorphs, and plenty of them, outside our little sanctuary here, much of the planet is theirs. For that reason, we keep our trips into the city to a minimum. That also means our intel becomes largely historical once you go much beyond the defenses. It's also why I want to make sure I'm being crystal clear. Out there, you're on your own. We'll do our best. I'll leave you to your preparations then. You can find your equipment in our armory, base of the tower just outside. Now, once you're outside the base, it's my personal suggestion you make a beeline to the nearby Aceles plant. It contains one of our field caches. Though I can't guarantee it won't contain anything else. I hope you all find what you're looking for out there. Robot, you're coming with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commander. Percival, you all set to hook into their comms tower?
Should only take a few minutes. Let's get this done and get the hell out of here.
Percival will be scanning the city for our samples from here. When he finds one, he'll transmit the coordinates to us out in the field.
Pinpoint's a bit strong.
The equipment will be able to get us a rough location of any acceptable samples in the scan area. It'll be up to you, Kaiser, and I to find the things. No argument here. Head over to the armory and gear up. Once you're done, we'll meet by the entrance to the city. Word of advice while you're out there. Don't trust what the voices tell you.
last click is so satisfying, isn't it? Well, have something for me? Bye, love.
Cold feet? Who can blame you?
All set on your gear? Are you ready to do this? Yeah, just pre-mission jitters. You hear about a place for so long, it maybe gets bigger in your head than it should be. But you don't need to worry about me. I'll be all right. Now, are we doing this or not? Then let's get this show on the road. Kaiser? Percival, everything green on your ends?
I am ready.
Personal comm should be routed through Kaiser now. You copy that?
Roger, loud and clear.
Press That's too loud.
Oh, you're a riot robot.
Kaiser, kick it off.
Unlock code transmitted. You may open the gate when ready.
Alright. On our way into the city. Percival, where are we heading?
Running the first sweep. Got one. A Sealy's. Not far. Old shipping yard just past the processing plant. Gene samples are probably in one of the containers.
Searching protocols.
That creature. It's dominated. Must be a force nearby keeping it under its sway. Let's put it down. More of them. Clean them up. Can't let the forces.
just beyond the processing plant. Cache with some goodies is towards the rear of the facility.
Kaiser, we close enough for you to dial in the location of those samples from here?
Yes, they're faint, but I'm detecting multiple valid signatures. I have restored power to the containers.
Jackpot! Get down there and collect as many as you can.
working. It's never going to work.
More than that. Concentrating fire.
Stop! Don't shoot! We're friendly!
Try again. Systems have damage. Rerouting power.
those over to Kaiser, and let's get out of here.
The two of us make, baby.
Samples secure.
Nice work. No. Earlier scan picked up a valid Terrormorph sample, but, well, it's in the spaceport. And the quick route there looks like it got blasted when the port did.
There are steam tunnels under the city, which will allow us to access the spaceport.
What do you... That's right. Kaiser, how did you know that?
I am not sure.
Percival, you see any better option?
Not from where I'm standing.
You've got our answer.
Access unlocked. We may proceed.
Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it?
Confirmed.
You know, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinian. A real marvel. leeches. Things warm.
It's confirmed.
What's that? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, have you seen this? Oh my God. The heat leeches are Terrormorphs.
What? No. It can't be true. Heat leeches are everywhere. They live everywhere. That means Terrormorphs... Oh my God.
You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a Terrormorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby Terrormorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then, with time, they transform. We just found out how Terrormorphs move between planets. That I don't have an answer for right now. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults do, the microbe should have no problem dealing with heat leeches and Terrormorphs. The Aciles, we'll have to look into. But given what we know about the creatures, I wouldn't be shocked to find that they've got an appetite for both. No, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere else, well, it wouldn't just be Londinian lost to these things. What we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method. I am sincerely inclined to agree, but current evidence suggests nature manages it just fine. The Lazarus plant. It's clearly an accelerant for the Terrormorph, a heat leech transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a Terrormorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, does this... Could someone have set that up? But first, you'd have to know the truth about all this.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it!
We may proceed.
Go!
got the cell data from the New Atlantis and Tau Ceti attacks, right?
Uploaded them myself.
Look at that sample.
Beginning analysis. It is a match. This suggests with high certainty that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attacks on both planets.
There's no way a plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it is we just stumbled on here? Exactly. Someone saw the Lazarus plant and realized the ends it could be put to.
A bioweapon no one would recognize as one. Oh, that's a terrifying prospect.
Sort of thing that'll keep you up at night. And the sort of thing whoever did this probably didn't expect us to uncover. Makes some sense, actually. Tau Ceti was likely their first test. Someplace remote where no one would question a few settlers going missing. Ensure the big show, the attack on New Atlantis, would be a success. And the timing of that one, it couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the Terrormorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion. It can't. At least, I didn't think it could. But maybe if we're right about this, someone found a way. They certainly were. But having this answer, well, it raises a couple big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why?
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universe's closest equivalent to hell frozen over. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more Terrormorph attacks, human cause or otherwise, we need that final sample.
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way. Sufficient power to the
Bring me anything useful?
Anyone? Got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
There's the control panel. Still looks operable. 5. Captain.
Reboot engaged. Running diagnostic. Diagnostic complete. Multiple systems unavailable. Warning, priority safety concern detected. Exterior hatch power restored.
Back in business.
Warning, emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Sanon, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral!
It just transformed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation, they're all in this facility.
Other than our casualties, yes, sir.
Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. They'll send ships as soon as possible.
Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things.
That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk. We're gonna have plenty to discuss once we get out of here. Hey, Victus. He destroyed this place. Killed these people to keep what he knew about the Lazarus plant and the Terrormorphs and all this a secret. Didn't he? He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon and hid it away. He killed those people. Condemned this city to keep them from sharing what they might have seen. He was Yes. Exactly what we all thought he was. But I guess that's just another part of his sick legacy now. He thought he was protecting us all, taking the secret to his grave. Only he didn't succeed. Now someone else knows about the Lazarus plant and is using it exactly how he feared. Now's not the time to joke like that, all right? No, that's insane. He died. They executed him. They faked his death? My entire unit, they threw us all to the wolves, but kept him? And now he's what, an advisor? Commanding the fleet in secret? What was so important that they had to keep him alive? I'm sure they did. They invested so much in him over the years. Even grew him an entire family he didn't want.
Alive. They victims. Still alive. This is just typical of UC bureaucracy. A cover-up of this magnitude could directly lead to war. What the hell is the matter with them?
I guess it makes sense, though, doesn't it? The UC of that era only created me because they were afraid of a world without Victus in command. Why would they get rid of him? As long as I live, I'll never understand the loyalty that old bastard elicited. But wait, if my father's alive and knew about the Lazarus plant, what do you think the chances are he was involved in the attacks? And there's no one he's in contact with that could help him on the outside? He got a hold of you, didn't he?
Not tight enough, apparently. He's playing everyone for fools and repeated his crime. Oh, that's what he gets for keeping him alive.
But I guess we're not getting any more answers right now. Come on, let's go get that last sample.
New process.
Why did you leave us?
Good. Now just stash that sample with Kaiser and we're done. The thralls! They're not coming after us. I guess we should grab that sample while we can.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon.
I'm glad you're handling the messy work.
Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion. Can't be positive until we run some tests. But knowing that the Terrormorphs have been masquerading as heat leeches all this time is a big find. Arguably makes things more feasible, now that we know what we're dealing with, not less.
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board with cleaning up one of the galaxy's greatest pests if this is what they're capable of.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. You do have them, right? Ah, best place for them. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Faye Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
It's a bit more complicated than that. Captain, he needs to know. Vae Victus is alive, which means he could have been involved in the attacks.
Alive? He's... Vae Victus? That can't be true, right?
Unfortunately for us all, yes, it's true.
So that means we have a suspect.
I believe that's exactly what that means. Look, Captain, Percival and I, we need to get these samples back to the lab. Ensure we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the Terrormorphs. But Vae Victus is the only solid lead we've got on the attacks. Since you're the only one who knows where he is, can you speak to him? See if you can get him to cough up anything he might know. Good. We'll all meet back at Mast, outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to know everything we've uncovered here. Best of luck, Captain. And thank you for dealing with him.
Visiting Rondinian has left me with a longing for Nira. I did not think this was possible. The samples are preserved.
Vaughn? Now what?
Anything I can help you with? You should inspect your ship for...
scanned as you enter the city. Please keep... Okay... Nobody...
If it belongs on your ship, then I'm sure. Hope you're finding everything you need. Oh, please, take a look. Thanks for shopping at Jemison Mercantile.
I grow up, I'm gonna be a 3-star ranger.
No loitering, okay? Yep, you... Stay safe out there.
Hey, no funny stuff with that boost pack. Got enough
Thing about the trade
traffic as
business?
it is.
Of course, of course. Pleasure dealing with you.
What's happening, darling? Feel free to drop some... See you soon, love.
The Trade Authority has access. Be my guest. The Trade Authority appreciates your visit.
Almost my entire life, and I had no idea this place even existed. The UC certainly excels at keeping secrets.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for? I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for? Good news, then. So, what exactly are you doing here? Plenty still to be done in defeating the Terrormorphs, no? Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us. Of course. Do I look like I'm in any position to do what you're describing? So I'd very much appreciate your agreement to not share what you found. We wouldn't want anyone else jumping to conclusions now, would we? You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terrormorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. All in due time. First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble? Not a bad thought. But no. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found. But we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So days of the Colony War, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of Terrormorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinian at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death? It was the only option that made sense at the time. Simple to say now, but with the outbreak raging from a barely understood source, the moment demanded quick action. So I did what was required. I removed a dangerous variable from an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though now, I'm not so sure. It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom they were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective. Can't remember the many lives you've taken. Orlays was the man whose death you brought about around the moon of Etheria, the pilot of the Warlock, the man I had to eliminate, to hide my secret. There are no heroes without a villain. I simply arranged the opportunity for us to overcome one and become the other. And we all benefited. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday. Something befitting the dedication to the colonies you two have shown. While of course they can't give you a command, responsibility like that has to be earned. The cabinet does have access to considerable resources. I expect you'll be quite pleased with the result, and none of it would have happened without my intervention. You're being honored only because I arranged the situations where it could happen. Be grateful. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terrormorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orleza's role in the attacks to the cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlez and Orlez alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together. Hunting down criminals and other threats to the United Colonies. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range once this is all over. You would help me, like you did with Orlez. Track them down, and keep them from doing harm to the United Colonies. Impossible, though, if the cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks. And how many have you killed to get where you are now? There are no great works that don't cost lives, Captain. Whether it's winning a war, or digging a tram tunnel. So we sacrificed a few dozen in the attacks to possibly protect millions. That seems like a fair exchange to me. I only hope you'll see the same, and leave my name out of the discussions to come. Well, I do hope you'll keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more.
Authorized personnel only.
Whatever you need, you got it. All right, let's go.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Asylees are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against Terrormorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant?
Orlays? Reginald Orlays? He did this? I didn't think he was still alive. You're sure it was him?
I don't know much about Orlays, but anyone with a sick mind like that needs to be tried for his crimes, and then dealt with appropriately.
That's some impressive work. So then give us the rundown. Where's Orlays now? Were you able to bring him in? Oh, Captain, I'm sorry. I won't pry any further. Well, at least you won't be able to hurt anybody else now. Might be the best we could ask for, given the circumstances. So I guess there's nothing else to do but get this all in front of the cabinet. Unless there were other things we needed to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the Terrormorphs. Asylees aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the Terrormorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Asylees, we're at least dealing with known risks. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Asylees seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti. Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math, and a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference. Then here we go.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terrormorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true?
My God.
An attack? Using Terrormorphs? How is that possible?
You will all receive a full briefing once we're done here. So then, is what the second report claims correct? Did Reginald Orlays commit these attacks, Captain?
That appears to be the case, ma'am. The captain tracked that information down just after our trip to Londinian.
Reginald Orlays? Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Body was found floating around Etheria. Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according to plan.
Ah, yes. I was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orlays might have been involved in the attacks? Well, it appears you are ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orlais triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the captain and Major Sinan uncovered.
Simply harrowing.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's justice, it seems both of you are to be commended for ensuring he was dealt with before he could strike again. You have our thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased. We're already discussing the elimination of one species, Captain. Explain to me why you wish to eliminate another.
Yes, absolutely. The UC has to be as transparent as possible from now on. Otherwise, we could be risking a second colony war.
That is an idea with some merit to it. Decrease the likelihood of anything like this occurring again, and further relations between our two factions.
Two birds with a single stone. Very well. We'll include the collective in the removal process. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terrormorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terrormorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
Here's hoping they'll be kept on a short leash.
That, madam, is most certainly the plan.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terrormorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive. You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sanan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Informed us of your new status. Congratulations on making Class 1.
Well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain. It's a high honor. Have to do something big for the colonies to earn that sort of designation. Only ever met a couple myself, and certainly never given one orders. You should be real proud. No need to thank me. You brought this all on yourself. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount. And the credits should be in your account now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access. Just out the front door and across the plaza, by the embassies. Look for the Aphelion sign. Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up Terrormorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you? Suppose that's true. Well, we can remedy that right now. Here we go. Report says ships at these coordinates fired on United Colonies craft. You're cleared to use lethal force if necessary. Notation mentioned Crimson Fleet, so I'd be ready for a scrap. Do as prepped.
Yes?
You needed something?
Authorized personnel. Friend has to stay here.
What's this? Just you then? No UC executioner. So the cabinet knows the truth about Orlais. Splendid. That means you and I can get to work. I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating Freestar Central Command and ending the conflict at long last. I thought I'd had myself, but such invasions are costly, in resources and lives. Others in the UC believed the blockade would be sufficient to bring the Freestar Collective to its knees, but they were wrong. So instead, they sacrificed far more lives in a protracted war, rather than doing the right thing from the start, and demolishing the Freestar capital when they have the chance. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinian. The Terrormorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things, and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war. I had a single ship. What would you have had me do? Ask them and the Terrormorphs to form a line, and the UC fleet was spread thin already. No, I touched down, assessed the situation, made a decision, and returned to the task at hand. It seemed a simple choice. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called a Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after. And thus rang the death knell for the great UC. That's one way of putting it. But yes, bad luck. And weak subordinates. We were in the middle of an all-out war, Captain. Committing ships to save the city would have left another undefended. Which city would you prefer I'd sacrificed? Sidonia? Gagarin? New Atlantis? And if anyone else had learned about the Lazarus plant, well, the risk was too great. I weighed the options and made the call. Once we'd cracked synthesizing the Lazarus plant's pollen, research that took years in and of itself, the attacks were exceedingly simple. Orlais' ship would land on our target, bearing a few heat leeches. Nothing that would raise suspicion. Then Lazarus pollen was pumped out of the ship during liftoff from the planet's surface. Shortly thereafter, an attack. A strike perpetrated in mere moments, with no one being the wiser. Well, thanks to our combined efforts, the Sanan name has more clout with the cabinet than it has in years. I hope to build on that. I have a long list of names civilized society would be better without. I just need someone to help me remove them from the picture. Should we begin the hunt? Or did you have questions? Just what I was hoping to hear. There's a slate waiting for you in the transfer system. Those are the details for our first, person of interest. Find them, eliminate them, and make the galaxy a better place for it. Though I would expect some resistance when trying to approach the target. Deal with any you encounter as you see fit.
Authorized personnel only.
Ah, my day just got a whole... Sure, I'm right behind you.
personnel only. Your friend has to stay here.
What's this? Just you then? Well, thanks to our combined efforts, the Sanan name has more clout with the cabinet than it has in years. I hope to build on that. I have a long list of names civilized society would be better without. I just need someone to help me remove them from the picture. Should we begin the hunt? Or did you have questions? Just what I was hoping to hear. There's a slate waiting for you in the transfer system. Those are the details for our first, person of interest. Find them, eliminate them, and make the galaxy a better place for it. Though I would expect some resistance when trying to approach the target. Deal with any you encounter as you see fit.
Authorized personnel only.
If something's on your mind, you can... All right, let's go. There's a non-zero chance that this planet once thrived with life. Amazing, isn't it?
Dangerous assignment, but you all are here because you can handle it. So any questions, concerns, anything at all giving you pause, you come see Dr. Walker or I. Little problems left unchecked become big problems. And we fix big problems here, not make them. Now let's get to work. Welcome everyone to the TMD.
Captain, looks like we missed each other back at Mast. Listen, I just wanted to say, I could have never guessed where all this was going to lead. But now, knowing what I do, that my past is less of a closed book than I thought it was. Well, I've just spent a lot of my life in pursuit of the truth. So, you bringing it straight to me, it just means a lot. The best ones certainly do. You know, I was thinking, while we were up on that podium, if I wanted to try and see him again. But I knew the answer before I even finished the thought. I didn't. Because confronting him, what would I have gained from that? From letting him remind me I can never truly be rid of him? Nothing. Now, all I'd be doing is acknowledging that he still has some sway over my life. And while I can't do anything about his role in my past, I'm not about to let him control my future. And thanks to what we've done together, that future is brighter than it has been in a long time. Words can't do justice to how grateful I am for that. Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there.
Yes?
Interest you in a new assignment? No one else? Who knows? Probably need to cut me down and count the rings to figure it out at this point. I joined UC DRIP, Defense Research and Initiative Program, right after graduation. Worked on all kinds of projects, but I fell hard for Xenobio. Way I saw it, nature had already figured out plenty more than we ever will. So, why not just copy some of the answers? Initially, it was a lot of material sciences, using carapace to make tougher ship hulls, biofluids for helmet glass that didn't fog. But when the war started looming, top brass in the UC military had other ideas for what we should be looking into. That's where xenoweapons got started. There was a team before us, set up in some secret base somewhere, that laid down a fair bit of groundwork on the field. But when a lab accident took them down, they called on Hadrian and I to take up the mantle, set in motion everything that's come since. Oh yeah, known each other since the xenoweapons team first set up on Mars. You can imagine my shock when I walked into this place for the first time and found some plucky 19-year-old was gonna be my partner. We were supposed to be co-heads initially, but you've dealt with Hadrian. You can imagine about how long that lasted. But the Major knew her stuff. Saw potential in all her staff and knew how to get the best out of them. Kind of bull only an uncynical woman like Hadrian could pull off. For all the damage that group did, we were, well, we were real tight-knit. Having that back, it's nice. Why? You want to watch an old man squirm? What we did back then, we were trying to win a war. We used every tool we had, tools we were permitted to use at the time, to try and win it. Well, UC did what the situation demanded, just like all of us did. And frankly, it's been too damn long for me to hold a grudge anymore. But at least now, with the TMD, some of that work is finally being put to better ends. Makes looking back a little less painful. You heard right. These Terrormorph attacks, they caught the UC off guard. UC brass doesn't like that. So, they want us patrolling the front lines of xenological life, ensure we've got intel on any possible new alien threats. Which means, we need someone to track down said aliens, and harvest samples from them. And not just any sample from these animals is gonna do either. We're trying to build a comprehensive picture here, which requires specific cells from specific family lines of some oftentimes unfriendly creatures. But since dealing with unfriendly creatures falls square in your wheelhouse, well, I figured we might be able to recruit you for the task. This isn't the same sort of harvesting you and Hadrian were doing with the Terrormorphs. A little will go a long way here. If you can get close enough to these creatures to harvest from them directly, you should be able to collect what we need without killing them. I checked with Lieutenant Gwalter before heading out. A good EM weapon could serve you well on these missions. Though, if heavens forbid, there's no viable option other than putting the things down. We're only talking a select few specimens here. These populations will recover. Pretty much every beast, behemoth, critter, and chimera humanity's run across is on the list. But we can send in-house researchers after the little guys. Your job will be primarily dealing with the, more troublesome species. Look, I'd ask some UC grunt to do it, but I'd much rather have it in hands I know I can... Yeah? Glad to hear it. There is just one additional wrinkle. UC spec this as a one-person job, but I convinced them this sort of task merits expert backup. So, if you're interested, they've agreed to let you take Hadrian with you. You'll have to convince her, of course, but I don't think she'll fight you too badly. We could use Hadrian here, absolutely, but we have other scientists. Not a lot of other people can go up against apex predators and come home again and again. You and Hadrian are the right people for this job. I expect she wouldn't mind too badly being out there herself, so pay her a visit before you head out. Now, let's get you the details of your first quarry. Here you go. Head there, find your specimens, and bring those samples back here. I'll have a tech waiting outside to collect them from you. And remember, proximity should be all you need to get your samples. Get close, harvest, and get out before they spot you. Don't let them get the best of you, all right?
Hey. Hey. You need something? Okay, I'm listening. What's going on? Backup? What does that have to do with me? Come with you? You can't be serious. There's no way Percival would okay that. I have important work to do here with the TMD. I mean, I do too, but leaving the TMD? That's a big decision. I guess you're right. I always imagined that future would be here at the TMD, but, well, maybe a change of scenery wouldn't be so bad. Besides, Percival will never let me forget it if I turn down field work in favor of a desk job. If you really need backup out there, I'll watch your six. Yeah, I think so too. Thank you for the offer. Really. It was unexpected, but I think this'll be for the best. Both for me and for the settled systems. I'll head out soon. I just need to talk to Percival before I go. He's gonna get an earful for arranging this without talking to me about it first. See you, Captain.
I'll head to my crew position.
We should have a talk when you have time, of course.
Engines ready. Good work, Captain. Orbital insertion done. Time to dance among the stars.
Shields up!
Navigational feedback checks out. We're in the right place.
Trade Authority at your service. Looking for something? Plenty on offer, if your credits are good.
Gear looks green, ready to land.
Let's see what's out there. When you have a moment. I'd like to speak to you.
How can I be of service, Captain?
Sorry to pull you aside like this, but I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you. Taking those steps to eradicate the Terrormorph threat is essential to the safety of every living thing in the settled systems. You should be proud. Yes, exactly. I'm glad you treated the situation with the urgency it deserved. I only wish that the United Colonies chose to exterminate the Terrormorphs with the experimental microbe instead of choosing this ridiculous Asili solution. Apparently, their decision was based on your recommendation. That was a risky choice you've made. Minimal risk. Are you sure? The Asili solution might take years, perhaps even decades. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking for humankind. That sounds far too risky to me. Well, I'm disappointed that you didn't trust the science. Thankfully, the eradication of the Lazarus plant gives the Asilis a bit more time to do their job. You haven't let me down. You've simply given me cause for concern. I'll tell you what, let's put this past us, shall we? I'm sure everything will work out in the end. I'm sorry if I've hurt you in any way. I wouldn't want anything like this to come between us.